Happy Halloween, you savages. Let's get after it. Happy Halloween, everybody. It is Craig Bennett, aka Cash Keg here. We're going to get after it. NFL has been on fire, man. Last 10 days in the sports betting picks, we're 27-9, up 26 units. It's been on fire. We got a game tonight. I'm going to talk about Monday Night Football, where we got the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. Not a ton of value I found out there, but I found a few plays, but we'll talk about a lot. Hopefully you can get some information out of it. But hey, if you like these videos, man, you know what to do. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. It means a lot, and we'll keep knocking out these videos and hopefully help you win a little bit of change. This video is brought to you by OddsJam.com. We'll show you what they have to offer as well, where you can easily pull up some stats and kind of see where some of the best plays are at. And they have a sweet little board I'll show you, and we'll jump on that as well. But with that, let's dive right in and check out Prizepicks, NFL picks for tonight, Monday Night Football on Halloween. All right, as you can see, I have the Prizepicks desktop version up here. They have a sweet mobile app you can download as well. We're going to go through some plays. Like I said, the NFL is 27-9, had a pretty good Sunday, up 26 units over the last 10 days. Hopefully we can keep that streak going here. Just got a few plays, not a ton of value, like I said. But if you like to check out what we have to offer, we also in the Patreon, we have the Plus EV tool's been just killing it. I saw somebody today that just signed up, put in some plays from the Plus EV tool on basketball. He said he's too lazy to find something. Ended up cashing a 5-man, which was surprising. But if you want to check that out, it is over here. Again, we got NBA, baseball that's just finishing up, hockey, NFL, college football. And we're going to be adding soccer and tennis here real shortly. So with this, again, we're going to dive right in and kind of talk about it. Like I said, there's only really 3 plays that I personally like. These other ones we'll talk a little bit about. Passing yards here for both of these guys. We got Joe Burrow, 265.5 pass yards. He played Cleveland last year on October 7th. Did throw up 282. Now, he's without Jamar Chase. So Higgins is going to step into that alpha role, and he's been great all year. We're going to see some Tyler Boyd, some Hurst, some other guys that are going to have to step up. But you can run on Cleveland too. So there's different ways you can attack them. But 265.5, if you kind of look what he's done through the season so far, he has went over this mark in 5 of the 7 games he's played. Put up 481 against Atlanta last week. Just absolutely smashed them. So we all know he's got monster game in him, right? I don't know if I love this line. If the running game gets going a little bit, Cleveland is ranked 8th in the NFL and giving up rushing yards. So it's a spot where I don't know if I really want to touch either one of these. I don't know if there's a ton of value. Looking at Jacoby Brissett, now he's went over this in every game except the first one. So he's went over this mark in 5 of the 6 games. New England put up 266, 230 against the Chargers, 234 Atlanta, 220 against Pitt, 229 against New Jersey. They want to run the ball, so it's always nerve-wracking taking a guy like him. But if they did get down, he has no problem slinging the rock a little bit. But I think these lines are probably right. Nothing I really love. Over on the rushing side of things, the one I was looking, we know the alpha back is Chubb, and I think they're looking to move Kareem Hunt. And I think you could take a look at both Chubb and Mixon here. Now, Chubb has been unreal this year, even splitting the workload, right? Like if we kind of look at his snaps, he only played 44% of the snaps last week and only rushed for 56 yards against New England, who has a pretty good rush defense. But before that, buck 34, buck 18, buck 13, 87, 141. He did run last year against Cincinnati, 137 and then 58 yards against them. Only played 24% of the snaps against when he only ran for 58 yards. So I'd have to go back and look at that game a little bit. Maybe we dig and see. But I think you can lean on taking more rush yards for both Mixon and Chubb. Like I said, Chubb, it sucks that he kind of splits the snaps with Hunt. But if we kind of look at Cincinnati, they do give up 119 rush yards a game. But it's tough to pull a trigger on a guy that it's gonna, kind of split snaps. It's, he still gets decent rushing attempts. Last two games, not so much, so 17 and 12. But before that, 19, 23, 17, 22. I think it all dictates the game. I don't really want to touch them. Joe Mixon, I think you could lean a little bit more, but he's had less success. If we kind of see what Joe Mixon has done, the juice is a little bit heavier on the over for Joe, but this line is 65.5. He's only reached it twice out of the 8 games that he's played this year, I'm sorry, the 7 games that he's played this year. So now they did give up, Swift. Swift did give up, was this last year? Yeah, last year put up 121. Stevenson put up 76 rushing yards against these guys back on October 16th. Eckler put up 173 against Cleveland here back on October 9th. Just looking back at some of these other guys. Najee Harris, Pittsburgh's kind of stink. They put up 56 yards against them. So just kind of looking at some of these other backs. Will they lean on him a little bit more? It's so tough. It's like Joe Burrow could just sling the ball too. And that's where I'm like, I have a hard time with these guys. So I kind of lean the over if you want to dig a little bit more. But again, split carries, and they tend to get away from the run a little bit. Did have 17 carries last week, but before that, 8, 14, got a 12 in there. So there's just some times where it's just rough. It's really rough to take. Looking at Jacoby Brissett, 11.5 rushing yards. He's cleared that 3 of the 6 games that he has played. Not sure that I absolutely love that either. Joe Burrow, that O-line still struggles. He's put up 25 and 20 the last 2. But again, one of those things I don't really want to lean one way or the other. Receiving yards, I think there's a few spots we can definitely look in receiving yards for, especially with Jamal or Chase going down. That T. Higgins is going to be getting a ton of work. Boyd's had a big game last week. If you want to look at him, Jaden Hurst should get more work. I think he had 8 targets last week. I don't really trust the Cleveland side of the ball on this. Amari Cooper does feel a little low. He's got some big games, 101 against the Jets, 101 against Pitt, 76 against the Chargers, but he's got some stinkers too. 44 New England, 8 against Atlanta, 17 Carolina. It's just too hit or miss for me. But talking about, one of the plays I do like, I think we can look at taking a T. Higgins here. He should be the alpha in this. He should get plenty of targets. Saw 7 targets last week, but he's had good targets basically all year. If we go back and look from the Dallas game, 10, 7, 9, then got hurt in Baltimore, and then had 10 and 7. So he's going to get a ton of targets here. He's going to get even more with Chase out. I do like taking more than 74.5 receiving yards for Higgins. I think he can go over the century mark here. Joe Mixon is another one of those things it's tough to trust what they're actually going to do with him. He's went over this mark in 4 of the 7 games they've played this year, 23 and 33 the last 2. Again, it's one of those things where, the targets are going to be decent. He's caught at least 3 balls in every game this year. So maybe if we go to the receptions and see what's it's at 3. So if I was going to take it, I'd probably take the 3, and hopefully with having, Chase out a little bit, maybe we'll see a little bit more Joe Mixon. So maybe we'll lean this, take more on Joe Mixon, 3 receptions. Like I said, he's hit it he had 3 last week, 4 for 5 against the Saints, caught 3 in Baltimore, all 3 of them, caught 4, all 4 in Miami. The Jets, he only caught 3, but had 7 targets. Then he had caught 3 or 4 in Dallas. And then the first game against Pitt, 7 and 9. So I think we could see more here. Just with Chase out, we could see a little bit more with him. But going back to receiving yards, again, I like Higgins. The other one I'm torn on Boyd, just with some data that's out there. Like, first glance, I want to say take the over, but there's other data that's kind of pushing that otherwise. So I'm going to dig in a little bit and kind of put my thoughts over in the Patreon street. So we'll kind of look at that one a little bit. Another one that I'm looking at, Hayden Hurst. I kind of like him a little bit, kind of looking what he's done over the last, handful of games. Pretty decent. And he should get even more looks in this offense, like I said, with Hurst out. So I'm sorry, with Jamal Chase out. So I kind of like looking at him. but I think I like a play a little bit better than him with the receiving yards. So I think I'm gonna just stick with Higgins here. But if I had to look at anybody else, I would probably again look at Hurst, Boyd, and Mixon. And I don't really want to touch anything on the Cincinnati side. I think Peoples Jones is interesting, but there's just for me, it just comes down to there's probably a little bit too much validity. eh, You know, it's just too volatile. I just can't take the Cleveland guys. I just can't. If you want to take some long shots and some 5-man uh, stacks here, 5-man flexes maybe, but I just can't do it. Before we dive in a little bit more, let's go over to our sponsor and check out oddsjam.com real quick. All right, over on oddsjam.com, if you check this out, you can kind of see this whole screen that they have here. So this basically, I pulled up NFL and I pulled up player receiving yards. They have props, they have regular money line, and it has all the books here. You can choose and pick the books that you want. It has 136 different books. You can pick what you want and kind of see and just see where the best odds are at, right? They also have Underdog and Prizepicks on here as well. So if you want to check out where the odds are at, they also have them. If you want to, just want to kind of just check out everything they have and kind of look for those plus EV plays. They have great tools for this. This screen right here is absolutely free. If you want to sign up, they have a 7-day trial as well. If you want to dig a little bit more on their plus EV stuff, highly recommend checking them out. Again, this is for the receiving yards. If you wanted to, they got different sports as well. NBA, which we've been covering a ton, but they got spreads, money line, anything you can think of, you can pull up here and kind of check and see where the best odds are at. Because it's just sometimes you want to see where you're getting the best odds. Very easy to just pull it up. And again, the books that you play, if you want to pull it up and just customize it to what you play and only have 3 or 4 up there, you can do that as well. And it just makes it a slick little thing and see where the best value is at. So with that, again, check over those guys at oddsjam.com. You can easily, again, check this out for free. And if you want to try them on that 7-day trial, you can sign up well. In the description below, I have the link. Let's go back and talk about some more Prizepicks. All right, so we got 2 up on the board here with Mixon, more of the receptions. We're going to go back over to receptions. There's one other guy I like. Like I said, we talked about Higgins. I prefer the yards than the receptions, but I have no problem if you want to choose that. The other guy I'm looking at is I'm going to look at Hayden Hurst, and I'm going to jump on this, and I like the 4 receptions here. Yards, I talk about you could take yards. He did clear that 2 of the last 3 games. He should see more love. Only saw 62% of the snaps, but again, these are going to slowly go up. He's only played, basically, 81% of snaps, 70, 62. I think he's going to play even more here. And the targets are there, right? He had 8 targets last week, 6 for 8 balls. 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, he had 6 to 7 balls. So that's what we kind of like to see. And I think 4 receptions is fair. You can get it at, you can get this line at 3.5. A lot of places out there, which a lot of juice on the over, which I like. So if you can get that in the books at 3.5, I love it. But I still think 4 is fair. If you don't want to play the receptions, I'm perfectly fine coming over here to 38.5 reception yards as well. I more than likely I'll probably just mix and match those with some 2-man power plays. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. Fantasy score, nothing really stuck out. If Chubb gets a couple touchdowns, he's going to crush that. Nothing was really like absolutely loved it, had to have it. I felt like the kickers are a little high in fantasy score, so didn't love that, but hey, it could be a kicking battle as well. Didn't really like rushed receptions, pass rush, didn't like that. Rushing touchdowns, you can always, look at taking Chubb. He tends to have a nose for the end zone, as we all know. But again, you're still splitting those touchdowns with, looking at Kareem Hunt. And he didn't have a touchdown last week, but before that, he had 3, 1, and 2 touchdowns. So he scored in 4 of the last 6 games. I do kind of like this one as well. Maybe we'll throw this one up there. But you got to understand is there's always risk of these touchdown ones, right? Because, especially when he's got a split backfield. However, he didn't get in last week. Hopefully he gets a little bit more of the lion's share of carries this week, and he'll put one in for us. So I kind of do like that one a little bit. We'll throw it up on the board. Then we'll go through no really pass attempts or completions for me. Interceptions, no thanks. Rush attempts, don't really love that either. Targets, I don't really love that. I feel like that's a little high for Hurst, but he has, like I said, 8 and 2 of the last 3 games. But I think we can come over to tackles and assists here. And there's one that kind of stood out. We were on it last week, and I think we'll jump on it here as well. And we'll go more than 5.5 tackles and assists for Grant Delpit. He's been doing really well with this stat. I just don't move the line on this. If you kind of look what he's done the last 6 weeks, he's went over this in 5 of the last 6 weeks. He's put up 8, 6, 4, 9, 7, and 7 tackles and assists. The juice is pretty heavy on the over here at minus 130, minus 135. Is playing 100% of the snaps. He doesn't come off the field. You kind of have to love that. So if I'm looking for a defensive guy, that's the guy I'm taking. So here's 5 plays for you if you're kind of looking at it here. I probably like Delpit as my favorite, honestly. And then I look at Joe Mixon as number 2. Higgins is number 3. I'll take Chubb as number 4. And I'll just take Hurst as number 5. And the only reason I say that is just I would rather have the 3.5 than the 4. But I still don't mind it. So those are the 5 plays. Again, we are up big in NFL over the last 10 days with these sportsbook plays, not including Prizepicks. 27-9 with over 26 units. Hopefully we can continue the streak. If you want access to all this stuff, it's in the Patreon link below. All my plays are documented. Everything is in there. And if you want access to the Plus EV tools, both for Underdog and Prizepicks, you can get access to those as well. Everything's for the price of lunch, man. Try to keep it real. And again, happy Halloween for you guys. If you enjoy it, if you have little kids, man, they grow up too fast. And enjoy your Monday night football game. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.